Hey, my name is Theo, and I want to take a moment to talk about the services that we have at camp. I think it's one of those things that you can think about, and really it seems like it's obvious why we would do services, but the reality is, if you look at camp, our goal is that your students would encounter God through every thing that they experience, whether that be through the games that we have, through the meals that we share together, even through free time, that your students would be encountering God. And so really, what is it that sets services apart is that it's the intentional encounter together corporately. And I think really the reason why camp is set apart from any other moment for your students and for you as leaders as well is because you get to lay down distractions from your everyday life and your everyday schedule and really set that time apart for God. And services are really the moment where that comes to ultimate culmination, and your students can really, in a new way and hopefully a fresh way, encounter the presence of God. I think one of the important things to note is that our team has importantly selected the speakers that we have at the camps and at the services. We really believe that the speaker that is there for your week is for your students. I think of a story from a couple years ago where one of our speakers spoke on bowling, which seems kind of like a specific sermon to speak at a camp. But afterwards, a student came up to him and really felt like God was speaking directly to him and that he encountered God in a way that maybe he hadn't before. And I believe that for each of you, your speakers at your specific camp are going to share with your students something that they need to hear, and that God's going to speak through that speaker and ultimately through you as a leader to your students so that they can encounter God in a fresh way. And as our services, the things that we do include prayer, our altar responses, and then obviously the preaching of the word. And I want to take a quick moment just to share on prayer and kind of what our heart is behind those altar responses. And one of the things that we try and encourage our camp interns with is following the step method for prayer. So what that would look like is, first off, you simply interview the student that comes forward. What is it that you're asking God to do? Why have you come up for prayer? Just to get kind of an idea of what it is the student's wanting. Now, as a leader, I know this is a moment where we would want to dive in and hopefully walk them through kind of what they're going through. But the reality is this is the moment in the altar response where they're trying to encounter God. So we have small groups for later where you can walk them through some of those things. But right now is really the time where we want you to simply spend time in prayer. So simply ask them that question and then move on to the next step, which is, what is the Holy Spirit speaking to you? I think that as leaders, sometimes this is a step that we can skip over because we want to get right into what we have to say or what our prayers would be. But take a moment, even just to quiet yourself and say, hey, I'm going to listen to what the Holy Spirit would want to say. I encourage you to do the same. And then quite literally pause there and ask, Holy Spirit, what do you want to speak? What is it that you're trying to do in this situation for this student? And then the third thing naturally would be, do what the Holy Spirit's saying. If the Holy Spirit's encouraging you with a word or a thought and an idea, do that in that moment and together go to God with what the Holy Spirit is speaking. And then finally, follow that up in prayer with yourself. Pray over the student, encourage your student, and watch as God encounters them in a way that they haven't seen before. We're so excited for the services at camp. We're so excited for our camp as a whole. And if you have any questions or any thoughts on any of this, we'd love to talk with you as you prepare and look forward for what God's going to do at camp this year.